A show here, woman.
Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony
We weren't even live
Live.
yet. You just started talking.
Oh, welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live,
where the co-host doesn't pay attention to anything.
We are live on Facebook and on YouTube, making a fool of ourselves. That's what we do every week to keep you guys entertained. Please be sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Here's the lovely poster.
.com.
Obviously,
that's a banner, not a poster.
Oh, whatever. Our banner. Anyways, you can find us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and the Twitter.
Whoop, whoop. My hair.
I don't know. My hair's like on a weird little
Look, I got
bun
this.
thingy.
Look at this thing.
Look, I'm like a...
Look at this. I got a curl thing happening here.
A Superman curl. Are you going to fly off into outer space?
No.
Do you get a funky high from the yellow sun?
No, I'm just going to...
Oh my gosh, you need a haircut. That is just not okay. You look like a greaser. Oh my gosh. Anyways, thank you so much for watching and for dealing with our nonsense. Oh,
look,
Lord. That's not okay. It's not much better.
I can do
than
this
my
in the middle
bun thing.
Here.
Are you parting it like Leave It to Beaver or something? Alfalfa?
There, how's that?
Do an alfalfa. That's nice. That does look like alfalfa.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to talk about some movies as soon as Bobby starts acting normal.
That means we'll never talk about anything.
There you go.
All
right. What are we talking
today,
about? Wow, babe, this is a family show.
This is a family show.
We got kids that watch.
They clearly haven't been around my family.
No,
That's how my family talks.
Oh, wow. Anyways, today we have a couple of movies we're going to talk about.
We
what
have
do you
2
want to
movies
start
and
with?
a stand-up special.
Yeah, so what do you want to start with?
Well, do you want to
As people are coming in, because it takes people a while to log in, I just sent a message to people. So what do you want to start with? I want to start with, I guess let's start from the bottom up. We're going to start. This is a family show, and it's not. We're going to start with the movie Harriet.
All about the tub men of Massachusetts.
Yes.
They've been in the bathtub?
Yes, those people. And or about Harriet Tubman.
I just burped all over myself.
Is my sound on? Oh.
We are trying to do a show.
Welcome to the show. Okay. Talking about the Harriet Tubman movie. Hopefully you know your American history. Harriet Tubman.
There's this lady named Harriet, and she was a tubman. And
she helped people escape slavery by use of the Underground Railroad.
Which always confused me, because I never once saw a train in this movie.
It was not a railroad, nor was it really underground, I don't think.
What?
It was just the name of their covert op.
This whole time, when I was a kid and I learned about the Underground Railroad, I always envisioned like a train underground.
Oh. I know, right? That does make sense.
That is false advertising.
Well,
like, I know it's an important story in history, and it's a very important, iconic, and she's a hero. I get that, and I believe that, but I call bullshit on the lack of train underground. Just saying.
Alrighty. Well,
big news.
Wow.
All right, so moving on.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about this film known as Harriet.
I really liked it. So it stars the lady, I have to find her name, but she was the one that was in that other movie.
I'm going to let her do this on her own.
Okay.
This is fun to watch.
The Royale, the Royale Hotel. What was it called? Was it Royale? No, it wasn't.
It's called The Bad Times at the El Royale.
See, Bad Times at El Royale, which most of you know because it has Thor.
Most people didn't see it.
Well, it has Thor in it.
His name is Chris Hemsworth.
That guy.
Jesus Christ.
And it also had, what was that other guy's name? The main dude?
We're just going to wait.
Hold on.
Let this happen.
Okay, let it happen then.
Just let this happen.
Jeff Bridges.
Of all the people on earth, and that's the guy, she can't remember his name.
The dude. So the dude.
And she classifies him from a movie she's never seen.
The dude in Thor.
The dude abides.
And Cynthia Erivo is what I'm going to call her.
Fair enough.
And Dakota Johnson, who I don't really like particularly, but, you know, whatever. So, anyways, so if you remember in that movie, she was like the singing girl. Well, now she's in Harriet, and she's pretty badass in this movie, man. Oh. And there is some singing. So it all comes back together. But that's why I remembered her from that one.
Is that why you remember her?
Yes, because it's like, oh yeah, the singing.
It comes back. Right before you saw this movie, I told you who was in it?
No, because I remembered. I'm like, where does she look? She looks familiar. Anyways, it tells the story of Harriet Tubman's escape from slavery And then you would think, it's like, I made it, I'm free, I'm never going back. The lady goes back to help other people get out. And then she goes back again and again and again.
Well, she initially goes back for her family.
I know, but man.
And then it turned into a whole deal.
I would have been like, I told y'all to run. Peace. Because, I've done that to you.
Yes. That's
I love you.
No, you don't,
but
apparently.
There was one time on our honeymoon, just gotten married, on our honeymoon, we're climbing a mountain.
Because the moment it was my out.
And I heard a rustling in the bushes, and I'm like, run! And I took off running up the hill.
Let me explain the scenario. She heard rustling in the bushes.
Mm-hmm.
We're outside. We're on the side of a mountain.
Yes.
Wind is blowing.
It could have been
no idea. It could have just the bushes blowing.
It could have been a horrible snake. Like,
didn't say a word, just ran.
No, I said
she
run. She
claims to this day she yelled run. She didn't say shit to me.
No, here's the other thing you can't hear.
I could hear then. That was 13 years ago. How about now?
Did you?
This is 13 years ago.
Really?
Yes, really.
Not as well. It's still not as well as it is now, is it?
Or what? Your conversation doesn't make any damn sense.
I'm going to claim that you couldn't hear, but I did say run,
she didn't say
and
nothing.
I ran.
She ran with those little stick legs. And mind you, had there been something, it would have got her because she runs slow as Christmas with that big old.
But I ran and you stood still, so wouldn't it have gotten you?
She's got the back load that slows her down. It's like driving a pickup truck with a whole bunch of stuff in the back of it, slows it down. And that's why she tilts back this way, because there's too much weight back there.
Wow.
You run like that.
Wow. Anyways, she said run. They didn't want to run, but then she went back to get them. So this lady to me is amazing.
That is the weirdest segue back.
I'm segueing back.
You basically gave the definition of our situation, but you said it was her.
Yes, because she did. She's like, come with me. And they didn't want to go with her. So she should have been like, peace out,
They did not
man.
want to go with her. They were afraid to go.
They were afraid to go. I know. But
it's that white devil.
It is. Y'all scare people.
Don't say y'all.
I'm saying you.
Okay, then.
I'm blaming you specifically.
She just blamed me for all of slavery.
JK, not really.
I'm like the least racist person on the planet.
You're not even really a white guy.
I embrace every culture but the white people.
You are more culturally either Asian or Hispanic than anyone I know. More than me, probably.
Yeah, you're whiter than I am.
Like, you'll eat some of the stuff I won't eat. And it's my people's food. And I'm like, no, thank you.
I'm telling you, I'm against.
You're way more diverse.
I support everything except for white people.
I know you do. Anyhow, tell me what your thoughts about the movie overall. Because there was one major thing that I thought was interesting, and I'm glad they didn't do. And I didn't know if you picked up on it.
You one found thing you thought was interesting that you were glad they didn't do.
Yes.
All right. So I enjoyed the movie, but my infamous butt. She has an infamous butt, but it's a body part. My infamous butt means I have something else to say.
I know.
My issue with the movie kind of comes down to its tone. This is a story that is iconic. The figure in it is iconic. It's such an important story to be told. So to me, that this movie was kind of about teetering on, should it be a Western? Should it be kind of an action type film? Should it be an inspirational historical biopic? And tried to be all of that. And for me, it while there are powerful moments there, they seemed to, right as they would really start being really impactful, it would move on because it was trying to get stories. Now, part of the issue I think comes into, it's going to be a very strange comparison, but it's the same issue that some of the issues with All Eyes on Me, the Tupac movie, is. Because there's so much story to tell in that person's life, and trying to fit it into a 2-hour movie, you have to gloss over things that are probably pretty impactful. And they also infuse things into this movie that aren't actual historically accurate for the narrative to keep it moving on, in hopes that I think to make the streamlined version work. And like I said, as a whole, the movie works great. It is a good movie. It's a movie I think people should see. I never felt that just punch in the chest that you would expect when you're dealing with the slaveries and people's freedoms and oppression and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We watch movies like that. We've talked about on the shows before. It's like that. What was that other movie that we watched? Was it 12 Days a Slave?
Yeah.
That we didn't get as much from it? Or was it? No, it wasn't that one. That one was the one. It was the Freedom one. That had all the controversy from the director, I believe.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. We don't need to promote him again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that other one that the movie was good, but it didn't really have that. Not Freedom Riders. It doesn't matter. It's just
Yeah,
whatever.
I know what you're talking about. It might have been 12 Years a Slave.
No, 12 Years a Slave is the one that has. I believe 12 Years a Slave is the one that
Yeah,
has.
but I think for me that with a yeah.
Yeah. It was just one of those things that it just didn't feel.
It didn't push it enough.
It didn't feel as powerful to me as I think it deserved. Is what I'm saying. Not that it's a bad movie, not that they didn't make a good thing, and not that they weren't trying.
Yeah.
But I think my mindset of who she is and what she did, I expect that she deserved more. Maybe that's what it is more. Instead of it wasn't the movie under delivered, is that she deserved more than it delivered.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That wasn't in the script.
Yeah.
Well, my thing. So the one thing I did like about the movie is that we didn't go through all of the beatings.
See, and that's that thin line that sometimes that needs to be there to ring home the really impactful nature of what they've really gone for. Because sometimes it can get lost. Like, say, like an African American person watches it. It's ingrained into their DNA from their families and their histories and their lineages and things like this. So they obviously have a different impact of what they're watching than I'm going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But if I just see scars on somebody's back, oh man, that person was beaten, whatever they. But you can see the same thing in an action movie. Like John Wick takes his shirt off. It's the same imagery.
I know, but we know what it's about in this.
Yeah,
one.
But I think seeing, like, I didn't even really feel that most of the slave owners in the movie were overly evil.
Well, and I think,
until the slaves were leaving.
Yeah, well, and I think that part of the reason why that's not there is, like you said, because it wasn't the focus of how they were treating the slaves. It was the focus of her story trying to
But
leave.
I think we needed that impact at the beginning because, like, when she gets initially angry and decides I got to leave, as bad as the situation was, it really wasn't. To me, it didn't seem like that's probably not the worst thing she's gone through.
Oh, no, not at all.
And
she was beaten as a child.
And I know sometimes it can be that was the last straw, but I think there just needed to be that punch. It's like if you don't have a budget for a really good horror film, but you need to get that punch so you understand how gruesome the kills are, so you can afford one kill.
Yeah.
You put that one, you throw everything you got into it. It's blood splatters and guts and everything else, and then everything else is implied.
Yeah.
But now you understand it, or you get to see it at the end, vice versa.
And this we find out through the course of the dialogue and stuff, how badly or how severely she was beaten. She did actually have brain trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, she had her brain got jacked up. So I think we get it through the story, but I was applauding them that we weren't doing the same thing again.
No, I agree.
Because we're focused on her story. We need to get her going.
I agree.
And I agree.
I think it just needed something at the beginning to really make her feel like where her real anger and her real thing is not just slavery, it's all of it.
Yeah.
And I think these movies about slavery sometimes water down that issue because we're so predisposed of, we know the story of slavery, we've seen it, we've heard about it, we've been there, we've done that. People talk about it all the time. So when you see it on screen, it's like, okay, we've seen Roots, we've seen 12 Years a Slave, we've seen.
I hope you've seen it.
The stories are kind of the same.
Please watch them.
They're horrible stories.
Yeah.
But they're the same. So that when we get thrown in there, you've got to have something. And maybe not the beating, but it's got to have something that really brings it home to remind you, hey, stupid, this is not just a movie. This is not just people were made to work. These are people that were abused and raped and murdered and tortured and whatever for nothing other than being a different color.
Yeah.
And I think, again, the movie is good. And I think the upside to not having that stuff is it makes it a movie that more age groups can watch.
Yeah. Well, because though later we do get some of it when this lady.
Oh,
what is her name? I like
Janelle
her too.
Monáe.
Yeah.
Who is she plays a character in the movie that is not an actual factual character. She's made for the movie, from my understanding.
Yeah, but she did good.
But she serves an important point. So
yes.
I'm sure she's like a few people merged into one person.
I like her.
Element. She's good. I think she's a singer, isn't she?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this dude, I like him too. He was really
Leslie Odom.
Leslie Odom Jr. He was good in this movie. I wish there had been a little more of his story, but I mean, it wasn't about him. No. But I get it.
What's crazy is the lady that directed this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know this until after writing my review and researching it. So first of all, the guy that plays the preacher
Yes.
She's
Like
been,
him.
Yeah, she's been married to him since the 90s. The director.
Wow.
I could, if you scroll down, I'll tell you the preacher. I know his name as soon as I see it. No, it's not
Not
there.
there.
He's not up there. You have to go. You have to go further down to the other one because he's not on there right now.
Okay. Anyway.
But he. But also, she was an actress.
Oh.
And
Reverend Green.
Bondi Curtis Hall. They've been married since like the 90s, but she is an actress and she's in one of my favorite movies. She is the detective that is investigating in Hard Target with Van Damme.
That's so funny.
Have you ever watched the Hard Target?
I don't know if I've seen it.
Okay, so she plays like a New Orleans detective.
Let me go look at her.
And you need to look at her young version, her younger pictures. That's why you don't where you know her, because I didn't recognize her in her current pictures.
This lady?
Yeah.
Or
yeah. But she was the little police detective that was investigating him. But if you go look at her younger pictures, like look at that one, because she's in Candyman as well.
That's so funny.
That's her.
Oh, I know her. Yeah,
she's the director of the movie.
Oh, you go, girl.
And apparently she's been directing stuff for a while now. But yeah, I didn't realize
good
it.
for her.
I was looking, I was like, wait, what? So
that's cool.
I thought that was kind of cool that she has the best scene in Hard Target where she's like trying to, she's celebrating her birthday by herself. Mm-hmm. And she's at her desk and she's got like this little pound cake looking thing with a candle in it. And somebody comes walking up and like it's got like just like foil under it. She like puts it on her desk. And I think she forgets to blow it out and like there's smoke coming out of it. So it's a great movie. So anyway, but she directed it. So
that's cool.
But no, it is really a good movie. So I don't want to make it sound like it's disappointing because it wasn't. I think it was just
you just wanted a little more.
Well, I also think I probably predisposed something in my brain thinking, okay, if I'm going to see the story of Harriet Tubman, this is going to be a heavy ass movie.
Yeah.
You know, because everything she did, just following her was heavy between saving people and you know, and then they throw in the element, and I know I didn't know until this movie of the depth of her actually leading combat.
Yeah.
I didn't know Harriet Tubman did any fighting. I knew she was just, you know, I figured she fought when she was running the railroad, but I didn't know she was in the military too after the fact. So when that scene popped up, I'm like, did that actually happen? And then, you know, you read stuff on the screen.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So when I saw the trailer and the first time it showed her kind of, you know, one of the last scenes of the movie, but it's in the trailer where she's like, everybody get ready, and everybody pulls up their guns together. And I'm like,
yes.
When did Harriet Tubman join the army? You know,
she was.
But I didn't know that part of the story. I never knew, so it was interesting.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
I did like that they were showing her take the famous picture of Harriet Tubman, and then she's annoyed, like telling the guy to get away from me, man.
And they're like, smile. She ain't gonna smile. She's like,
now I will say the whole thing in the movie that she is amazing in this movie. Cynthia or Erivo or whatever it is. Erivo. She's so good because there's moments where she says nothing, but her face tells you everything.
Yeah. Well, and I find it just, I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard as a woman, it's hard to just go around with no makeup when that's what you're used to. And so for her, she's like totally just stripped down and bare, and her hair's messed up, you know, because they messed her up. I mean, and there's one part where she's like falling and bruised and beating her, like her clothes are falling off, but she is still running.
Well, and
that to me was like, oh my gosh.
Well, and that's one of those things that we always talk about when I'm teaching self-defense and stuff, and the modesty factor.
You just keep running.
No matter what's happening, you got to keep moving because you can't stop to pull up your pants or whatever, because that's how people get killed. Is if you're.
Yeah, so when that guy sees her, he immediately throws this blanket on her.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my gosh, you know, because she didn't even notice her condition. She's so busy just trying to run. I thought it was great. I mean, she did a great job. So overall, I really liked it. I think I agree with you. There's some pacing things where things are happening just way too fast.
Yeah, it seemed to like.
It's okay.
As soon as almost every time you, excuse me, kind of get into things, it seems to jump ahead too fast. And so it just, again, it wasn't bad. It was just.
It was fun.
Yeah, it just kind of loses something at times that something that I think should have been there, not something that it was a bad way. I think it was more my own necessity because it's getting, from what I've heard, mostly it's getting decent reviews.
Yeah, that's
more her than the actual film.
Yeah,
a lot of the people,
she did good.
A lot of the stuff I've read about kind of think the way I do. They felt like it was a very generic Hollywood movie. It wasn't very by the numbers, you know, biopic thing. They didn't do really anything fresh and new with the story. They didn't really do anything, like I said, to really make it stand out. But
yeah.
if it
was good.
if it didn't have her performance, to me, it would have been a more forgettable movie.
Yeah, she was good.
But yeah,
she's the reason you want to see this movie.
Yeah.
And I mean,
but
she's
you should see this movie anyway because it's one that's.
It's important to know.
Yeah, she's such an iconic figure. Not the actress, but she will be someday. But Harriet Tubman and this story is such a big deal and unbelievable. Do what one woman did is you need to what?
And I'm excited to see her do this coming up.
Oh.
Anyways, continue. She's good. The movie's okay. Watch it.
Sadly, it was like way down the list on the list this weekend. There was too many other things that are outshining it.
There's a lot of stuff at the theater right now, so it's hard.
All right, so do you want to just jump into the next thing? So Harriet is in theaters now. Go check it out.
Let me show you guys a link to our review on HollywoodMatrimony.com.
Let me tell you what it's review. It's a review I wrote because somebody didn't do their job.
Well, I'm giving you my review live and in person.
That is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Okay, I'll write a review.
If you go to the screening, if anybody wants to write anything for us, I can send you to screenings, but you got to do the review. Somebody over here is eager to jump and head right out to watch a free movie, but then I got to fight with her to get her to do her job. That's right. I'm talking to you, crackhead.
All right, next on our list.
All right, the next one is we took a detour from the movies because we had some other stuff going on. We had a tournament this weekend and things. So we jumped on the good old Netflix and we watched an all new stand-up special from an iconic actor.
I am so happy.
Comedian, who's mostly known for doing what? I was wondering if you were going to do it.
He's got super long fingers.
Super long fingers, and we're discussing Arsenio Hall. What is it? Smart and Classy?
Smart and Classy.
Is that the name of it?
Yes.
It's his all new stand-up special. Just hit this week, or over the weekend or whatever. I don't know if I've ever watched the Arsenio Hall stand-up thing at all.
I don't know. I liked it though.
I mean, I think I learned about Arsenio Hall when he did his talk show, and then
that's all I ever
of course
knew.
Coming to America, and then he was on Martial Law with Sammo Hung, and then had a bunch of movies. I knew from Chunky A. When he was his fat rap persona.
Yes, that was his rap persona.
You don't know Chunky A?
I do.
Okay.
Anyway,
so what'd you think?
I was excited to see him come back and do something. I've been missing Arsenio Hall, you guys. I wish he was back on TV. And he
was, and it failed.
Show. I know, but I wish he would come back again.
You wish he'd come back and fail again?
No, I don't think he would fail again, would he?
Well, he failed the last time he came back. Well, he didn't fail, but he came back and it just didn't take off.
It didn't take off, but I wonder if it's because people don't know who he is.
I think the whole late night thing is just different now, because I was listening.
What if he did like a Netflix?
Well, I was listening to something on Howard, but I don't remember if it was Fallon or Kimmel, but they were talking about like the whole climate of the talk show world is different. Excuse me, the Johnny Carsons and the David Lettermans and the Jay Leno's and them would not make it today.
Yeah,
because if you watch these shows, first of all, there's no more late night wars.
Yeah,
all of them are friends. They go on each other's shows. They all have a show that's very specific to them.
Yeah.
Where before every show was kind of the same format, exact format. And even with the same format as some of the daytime talk shows, And, now, you have a Jimmy Fallon who does all these skits and they do stuff, and then James Corden does all this kind of stuff, and then Jimmy Kimmel does it, and then they go pop in.
Kimball.
Like Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon just did a thing together because Kimmel was in New York, So I think it's just a different thing. And Arsenio was on UPN at the time before it was CW.
Yes.
And so and his show was a little edgier for its time. It kind of was before all this other stuff. It was the edgy show. Like there's famous moments where him like fighting with Vanilla Ice because he called him out on all his lies, or that he perceived were lies and was told they're lies. There's one where he's fighting with some gay people in the audience that were accusing him of being homophobic, and so he starts yelling at the audience. It's like it's an iconic bit thing. But he probably would get outside of that. He was known for his comedic roles and teaming up with Eddie Murphy. Then he returned to television with Martial Law when he teamed up with Sammo Hung and did that TV series. But he came back for the talk show. It was kind of like George Lopez's show that kind of came and went. And, so anyway.
Which I love George Lopez's show too. But anyways, so the Arsenio Hall stand-up special.
Which seemed kind of like a small venue type of thing.
It did. It seemed like small and intimate. It says it's his first stand-up special. filmed live
Oh.
in San Jose this
Yeah,
year
so
in
maybe he
April.
hadn't done one before.
Yeah, so I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very timely to what's happening currently.
Well, I like that he didn't. He seemed to just grab onto something, and then he would just play with that thing for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and then instead of having to have a transition, he would just like, the other day, and it felt old school.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the comedians, they hit their jokes and whatever, and then they just stop what they're talking about and they start talking about something else. Where he seemed to be rolling into.
Yeah, it rolled from one topic to another, but they all seem kind of interrelated throughout the overall theme.
Yeah.
Like of what's currently happening with politics or these certain people, celebrities or whatever, but it all kind of followed a theme. And what I did find to be interesting is that as people reacted in the audience, he reacted back like just instantly.
Yeah.
He was so smart. Because, that one lady was like, he's like, ooh, whoever to this lady. So he picked up on it. And I like that. I like when they interact.
He wears a lot of chapstick.
He does, but I do too.
Whatever it is.
It's chapstick.
He's always got shiny lips.
Well, you got to. Because like right
Well,
now.
he's always been there. He was always distracted. I looked at him, I was like, that man's got some shiny lips.
But remember, he talked about his mom was like the ashy queen. Like you could not be ashy at all. So that's probably why. He probably lathers up everything before he gets on stage. So that's funny. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. And I love Arsenio. I always have. I don't know why. I find him like charismatic and endearing for some reason.
He just seems to be one of those guys and we don't know him, so who knows what a really kind of a guy is. But he seems like somebody that's just like them.
Yeah.
Like I imagine that's him outside of the stage too.
Mm-hmm.
The same way he was on his talk show, I always felt like that was Arsenio Hall. Like Jimmy Fallon, I get that too. It feels like that's just probably Jimmy Fallon all the time. Whereas somebody like Stephen Colbert, I know he's a funny guy, but he's also intellectual, so you never know which one you're going to get.
Well, now we know through conversations with Howard Stern that Jimbo Kimball is nothing like that on TV. He's very like in a cave when he's off stage. He's like very isolated and introverted. So it must be hard.
Which is funny because he went from the Man Show to late night talk show, doing all shows that were outrageous.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Anyways, I really enjoyed the Arsenio Hall special. If you like him, if you're a fan from back in the day, you should watch it. And if you have no idea who Arsenio Hall is, then you need to go watch it. And then go see. Can we watch the show?
What show?
The Arsenio Hall show.
I'm sure you can.
It's on YouTube. Hi, this is Xander. This is Alexander. He's never on camera.
He's been on my show a few times.
Hi, baby. Hi.
Because he just walks in and then lays in the back.
He does this. He just walks through. So he's going to stay here for a while.
And bothers things.
Yes, he's the one. He likes to bite on things. He likes to go potty on things.
Yes, we got to watch him.
Anyway, so
he's a jerk. Anyway,
check it out.
But yeah, it's fun and I think it's an important time for him to have this special too because they're doing Coming to America 2.
And everyone is talking about this movie. Like it's all over.
Well, because it's a sequel everybody wanted for years. Nobody ever thought it would happen because we thought Eddie Murphy was kind of done, you know, and now he's back with Dolomite that we talked about last week. He's shooting that and now he's planning to come back to stand up, which is probably the biggest news of history. But what's really funny is it's also an important time for both Arsenio and Eddie Murphy, primarily because of this Bill Cosby thing.
Yeah.
Because so I don't know if you've ever seen some of the Eddie Murphy stand-up specials or not.
But he has
He has a very famous story he tells, and he even told it on the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee when he was with Jerry Seinfeld about how Bill Cosby called him when he was at the height of his career and calling to basically give him a lecture about not cussing. Like you can't be on stage cussing.
Yeah, right.
And he says like, he told me you can't say filth, flarn, filth. And he's like, I didn't say no filth, flarn, filth. Because you can't say it. And the story he tells, it builds up to the point to where he basically gets Bill Cosby to drop the F-bomb. And it's really funny. But then to circle back and where we're at now,
be careful.
And Bill Cosby's in prison for
no.
essentially being a serial rapist, you know, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I said allegedly, just in case.
Allegedly. Well, he was convicted.
I know that, but still. And then Arsenio has a similar joke.
It's so funny. He had a similar conversation.
He talks about his hero, and he goes, "I told my hero, and this is Bill Cosby," and then he just pauses and lets it marinate in the room, you know. And so, it's funny. It's a funny little special. If you like Arsenio, if you just like good comedy.
That Bill Cosby told him the same thing.
Yeah, apparently it was fairly famous that Bill Cosby would run around town basically yelling at comedians for being dirty.
Yeah.
Said, you don't need to be dirty. You need to stop it. That's not how you act on stage. It's not professional. And they all kind of told him to go F himself, and he's the one that was causing problems.
I mean, yeah, because, obviously the old adage that actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
So his actions were way worse, allegedly, than dropping the F-bomb.
His actions.
Who knows?
Anyway.
So, anyways, I thought it was funny. It hit all the highlights for me.
It wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to expect either.
Yeah,
but when you're coming off of somebody like a Dave Chappelle
he was way out there to me.
Yeah, and I love the Dave Chappelle special, but also I think Arsenio Hall is such a big persona.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could have ever lived up to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Eddie Murphy, I don't know if his new special can live up to who Eddie Murphy is now, but the Eddie Murphy then, Raw and Delirious, were insanely genius stand-up specials, but that's what we expected, and that's what we got. Now we know Eddie Murphy from the movies and the stand-ups and TVs and all the stuff he's done, and now we're like, can he live up to what we're wanting?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be really good.
Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock did it, so I'm assuming they can do it too.
It'll be good.
So, moving on.
All right, next movie.
So the next one's going to take a little bit longer, so sorry if you have things to do. Too bad, you stay with us.
Just watch our show.
We're going to talk about the number one movie in the country, Babe 3.
Pig in the City. Pig in Space.
We're going to talk about the franchise that never seems to end.
I love it too.
No matter how good or bad it's doing.
Not gonna end.
And we're talking about the Terminator. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump through. We'll discuss the movies really fast. We're not going to take a long time. There's only 2 of the movies that matter for the new sequel that's just hit theaters called Terminator Dark Fate.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not the only sequel that's been. So let's run through them really fast. I actually rewatched all of them beforehand because I love all things Terminator. And even to me, a bad Terminator movie is still a good Terminator movie because it's still a lot of fun. Do you have a favorite Terminator movie?
I do. I need to look at the box.
Well, let's do this then. So let me just run through the history of Terminator real quick.
Tell me real quick so I can tell you.
We have the first Terminator film, which was
Terminator.
Nobody knew who Arnold Schwarzenegger was. He was new to the industry. He had done Hercules. He had done like Hercules in New York, and he had done
Hercules,
and he had done the villain with Kirk Douglas, which is a movie I so wish they would commercially release again. It's such a great stupid movie. It's basically a live action Roadrunner, and with Schwarzenegger playing. I think his name is Handsome Stranger.
Yes.
And he wears the blue and the white hat, and then Kirk Douglas has the black outfit and the horse and everything. Anyway. So we got the first one with Linda Hamilton and Lance Henriksen and Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's even small parts with Bill Paxton in there. That's right. And Michael Biehn and James Cameron came together. It was a low budget kind of independent type film when it was made.
Yeah.
It resonates with me on a personal level because my mom took me to see it at the theater.
Aw, baby.
How fun is that? At the Ridgewood Theater. I had no idea what the Terminator was.
That no longer exists.
The Ridgewood Theater is there, but it's an empty building.
Yeah.
But I remember going to see it and not knowing what we were watching. I don't remember if it was this or Tron, but I think it might have been this one where I had 4 hot dogs. My mom was like, "You want the same thing?" I was like, "I want a hot dog." And my mom went and bought me a hot dog. Oh no, she kept going buying me more hot dogs.
Your mom would do that.
That's probably why I'm fat now. But anyway, I remember seeing this movie and I was completely blown away by this movie. I was like, what did I just watch? So then years later, it jumped ahead and we got Terminator 2, Judgment Day, or T2. And I specifically remember when this movie came out as well. I had a friend named Chris who was a bodybuilder. And he was obsessed with all things Arnold Schwarzenegger, with obvious reasons. And he wanted to see T2 so bad, right? So he was running around mowing lawns. He was doing all these different things because we were in high school still, or somewhere in that time period. And he was running around mowing lawns, trying to just find much cash because we could go see this movie. And remember going to see it at the theater. We came out and we were like, how in the hell did they make a movie better than the first Terminator movie? Well, James Cameron did. And what happened? They gave him a budget.
No.
So then we got T2. So then it was officially in the lexicon with this time Schwarzenegger was a hero. You had a young Robert Patrick that none of us knew who he was at the time as the T-1000. I believe it was the T-1000. I think Schwarzenegger's T-800, I think.
He's the one.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whichever one it is. The liquid metal one.
Yes,
Then of
those
course
are
you had to
cool.
return to Linda Hamilton and Eddie Furlong. And did you know,
What?
maybe you noticed or not? Did you notice John Connor's little redhead friend at the beginning of the movie when they're playing with the motorcycle and all that stuff before he gets separated?
Yes.
Did you recognize the little kid?
No, who is that?
That was Sam from Different Strokes, Arnold's stepbrother that came in later in the show. Little redhead kid.
Nice.
That is
That's
Sam.
so funny.
So, and then of course there's more cameos from different people that show up. And between the first two Terminator movies, there's like 4 people that eventually show up in Aliens that James Cameron made as the soldiers, the main Marines. So anyway, then we jump ahead again. Franchise continues. We get Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, which wasn't met with very good reviews. It did bring Arnold back as Terminator again. We got Claire Danes as a new person, a different John Connor. The movie works fine for me. It's not as good, obviously, as the first two in any way, shape, form, but it started changing the story a little bit. It's like, okay, we're not after John Connor. Like the first one, you're after Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor.
Second one, you're after John Connor.
John.
The third one, you're after John Connor's generals.
Yeah.
All the different people he knows from high school and friends and whatnot. So then we jump past that one and we get into Terminator Salvation, which was a whole new realm of the Terminator world. Now we went into the future. The Terminators are part of it. I liked that movie. Schwarzenegger was a governor at that point, so he wasn't going to be returning as the Predator, as the Terminator.
That too.
But he did actually show up, and they did some scan of his face so they could put it on the big appearance of the Terminator at the end of it, which was meant to essentially become a prequel to the original movie, because this was the Terminator they were going to send back, or the model. But you had Sam Worthington and Christian Bale and Bryce Dallas Howard and some other people. So I liked the movie too, but it didn't feel like a Terminator movie because it took everything away from it. You're just in the future fighting. So we ended there. We thought Terminator was over, and then a few years back they did the reboot of sorts and looking to get rid of everything past Terminator 2.
Yep.
Or actually past Terminator, the first Terminator.
One.
This was meant to be a sequel to the first Terminator with Terminator Genesis. Which brought in Emilia Clarke, the Khaleesi, as Sarah Connor, Jai Courtney from Spartacus as the new John Connor. I mean, not John Connor, Kyle Reese.
Kyle Reese.
You got Arnold back times 2 in one sequence. You also got Jason Clarke, who you don't like his face, who he's John Connor. And what they did is they brought him back. And they did a really cool thing. Like, I really like this movie, and for some reason,
it's basically like do a redo of number 1 because now it's a little bit
well, it
different.
changed. What they were trying to do is reboot the franchise. So in this film, they send them back to the beginning of the first film.
Yes.
To stop them from ever happening.
Right.
So when the Terminator arrives, they recreated that whole sequence. And then all of a sudden, old Terminator shows up and starts killing him. And you find out that they had sent another one back years earlier. She already knew about it now. They were waiting for this one. That's why the first time you see the older version of Arnold, he's like, I've been waiting for you. He starts blasting him with the shotgun. And then they jump ahead in time again.
Yeah, I thought it was creative.
Yeah, because they're trying to do something new to reboot the franchise and still pay homage to the other stuff and kind of get rid of the other sequels that didn't do as well. I think their biggest mistake with this movie was trying to basically write out T2. And Terminator 2 is considered by a lot of people the perfect action film. And it's beloved by most people in the franchise. So to try to get rid of that one kind of hurts,
It hurt people's feelings.
That's why we have T2 on 4K as well. Booyakasha, because it's anyway. So now,
so much has just happened.
After Genesis was supposed to kickstart a whole new series, and it didn't because it didn't do as well as everybody had hoped. And even when I left it, I thought it was a blast, but it didn't do what it had. So we thought it was done. But of course, the Terminator never dies, and you're constantly sending him back. So now he's back all over again for Terminator Dark Fate. This time, James Cameron came back to the franchise for the first time since T2, is producing it. You've got Arnie back. You got Linda Hamilton back for the first time since Terminator 2. Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool, I believe, he has took over the directing duties. And so we've got a film that's a direct sequel to Terminator 1 and 2 and pays a lot of homages to that. So with that being said,
that's a lot being said.
Before we talk about the new one, What is your favorite Terminator movie?
I think I like part 2. Now
Like most people.
Yeah, I like part 1 because you get to see Arnold's thing flopping as he's walking, but that's okay because he's naked.
Barely, if at all.
Yeah, you do. It's in shadow, but I saw it.
You nasty. You cochina.
I know. No, I liked the first one because at the time it was so creative and inventive, and although there's some scenes where you can tell like it's fake, like the fake robot face or whatever,
How dare you.
but they tried so hard. It's the 80s.
Yeah.
So for being the 80s to do something futuristic, we're in the year 2020, whatever, I thought it was really creative and I liked it. And it was kind of creepy and scary when his little face comes off and he's got like the little light and you're like, what? It's a robot. The robot's walking around. And I think now that there are actual robots that like walk around and they can climb steps and they can do all these things, it's freaking me out, you guys.
Funny,
Skynet is real.
It's funny how the whole Skynet thing has become part of American culture.
Yes.
Because anytime a machine does something wrong or a robot shows up or somebody talks about it, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody's always like, this is how Skynet starts. Because everybody takes it seriously. Like, this is going to happen.
It is going
No, I know,
to happen.
but it's funny. You're people taking a science fiction movie, an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie at that, and their fear and their basis of what's going to happen is based on that movie, which just shows how
it's true. I mean, because was it Facebook or someone or Apple or somebody was experimenting with an AI and it became aware, so they unplugged it.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen,
anyway.
And it's very scary. And we're all connected, and now they're really starting to try to chip people. We're going to be so interconnected.
Okay.
The thing's going to take over us. Sorry,
but
but my favorite part is Terminator 2 because it picks up from the story, and now we see what's happened to Sarah. And poor Sarah is locked up
in a mental house.
And first of all, first time the guy was trying to help her, and now he has her locked up. He's a jerk. That's where we start off with the psychiatrist dude. Because remember, he's investigating Kyle Reese and trying to help her with her trauma. And now he locked her up? What a jerk. Sorry.
I don't think he locked her up per se. I think she got locked up from her crime. Because there was a lot of explosions and property damage. And then,
I guess.
Then she comes off like a psycho.
Well, just
and then Kyle Reese is now murdered, and there's no evidence to why. So...
I don't know. Anyways, I liked the second one. I thought it was great. So leading straight into this,
the second one is a perfect action movie, and I remember when I saw it, I was blown away by some of the stunt stuff. You know, there's a sequence of him riding the motorcycle, jumping it off the thing, chasing the diesel, and But it was even more shocking. It's like Terminator 1 is still my favorite.
It is good.
But it's because I have a personal connection to it on top of loving the movie.
Yeah.
It's a slow ass movie. It's got some action in it, but it's slow. Terminator 2,
I think just because
slapped me in the head because I'm like
metal guy.
Well, it slapped that was big, but I could at the time I could not wrap my head around Schwarzenegger being a good guy. Like even though by this point he was already and that happened because he was a action star now.
Yeah.
Had he never done anything after the first Terminator, probably would come back as a bad Terminator again. But he's now a megastar.
Yeah.
So they needed his name in the marquee, you know, and I was like, how can you do this? And then it made you start letting you know, well, look, we can change the time. This time we sent this guy back because he's familiar and he's old now. We can bring in this new version. And so we kidnapped this old one. And so going into the new one is directly connected to 1 and 2, like to the point where the movie opens. It's not a spoiler, but it opens with the psychiatric hospital video that is played in the second movie to show you, hey, this is where we're coming out of before we get into the new story. So what did you think of the new film?
I really liked it. I wasn't sure how the Arnold character was going to play into it because things happen at the end of part 2. If you haven't seen it, don't want to spoil it, but you should have seen it. It was like a gazillion years ago. But
there's no way he could have existed. It basically is what. Yeah.
So I'm like, what? But now we understand. I mean, when you watch the movie, and I found his character actually very compelling and emotional. Yeah. And like, I feel bad for him at some points. And that's weird for me to say about a Terminator.
Well, it was interesting too, like the way the explanation of his existence and how they did it was already kind of heartbreaking, but the fact of how they explained away that character
Mm-hmm.
made so much more sense to what would have actually happened in the first movie,
Yeah.
because there's no way to know where anybody would have been, so it makes more sense to
Yeah.
what they explain of this is really what happened, and we just never knew it because we were in that story.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this without giving away what
And
what
then
happened.
you just find out there's such a bigger story with Terminator and Sarah Connor from the very beginning of the whole franchise that's been going on all this time, and things have happened, and obviously timelines have changed and things have changed, but people at their core and their emotions and or their trauma do not change,
Well,
because they've never dealt, neither one of them have really dealt
what
with
I
it.
liked probably more so on the story element was the fact that the situation from part 2
Mm-hmm.
to stop Skynet wasn't ignored by, like, every other movie since then. Always went back to somebody else made Skynet. Somebody
Yeah.
else made Skynet until the last one where they made Genesis, whatever. But in this one, it wasn't so much that they ignored this as what they did changed the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So then it made them have to do something different. But there's still something that has to be done, because no matter how you change the timeline, elements of that are going to stay the same, because there's always going to be somebody that does this and somebody that does that, and it might not be you this time, it might be me next time, and
Well, and I think the interesting thing, the underlying story of all the movies has always been the desire to weaponize some sort of a thing, and that has been like the underlying theme. We're trying to weaponize. We're trying to weaponize to create some super military thing.
The thing that I think,
but why? Why do we have to do this? Why are we on intent?
I think what has gotten lost in the franchise, and what this movie reminds us, is this story is Sarah Connor's story.
Mm-hmm.
This is her story, and once she was no longer in the picture, even though you have John Connor or a version of him, even when they brought in Emilia Clarke as Sarah Connor, their story keeps changing, and so by wiping out the original story, it changes her story altogether, and it's no longer that story. Like this one, this is the growth of the exact same person this time. So this Sarah Connor we're seeing did fight the Terminator and fall in love with Kyle and have a baby, and did go to the psychiatric hospital and lose her son while she was in the hospital before being reunited to fight against the other one, and now has lived years knowing what was out there and knowing what she
knows that the world is gonna,
and they did stop Skynet, and so now she's theoretically at peace. We've saved the world, with no knowledge of what else could still happen.
Not really, because I think she understands. Okay, I stopped this one dude, but it could always come back.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. I think it was just a matter of that fear came later after the other elements that put her in the direction of what we see.
I think
which we can't tell you because it's a spoiler, but
I think she has some unresolved trauma.
Well, there's that, but there's an element of the story that it goes into that explains to you why she's who she is now. Which you see a version of this version of her in Terminator 2. She's doing pull-ups, she's beefed up a little bit, but by the end of Terminator 2, she would have been leaving that mentality behind slightly, but because of other factors through life, has put her into even probably a more grizzled, chiseled, angry human being than we last saw.
I feel like she's just living on the
edge,
emotional edge all the time, always wondering, like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
I think now she's just pissed off.
I guess, but
that's what I got out of it. She was just pissed off.
An ending for her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think she's just pissed off now,
Maybe so. I just want us as a society to stop with the AI.
Okay, well that's not gonna happen.
Stop with the desire to weaponize something.
This is a movie review, so you're gonna have to calm down.
I know, but
so what did you think of Mackenzie Davis?
Stop weaponizing things.
Don't look it up. Answer my question.
I liked her. I thought she was really good. That's what I was wondering. Like, has she ever done any other kind of things?
Yeah, she's done a lot of stuff, but
what is she in?
Well, I know her from 'Halt and Catch Fire, which is a series I watched for multiple seasons about the internet and computer industry thing.
Okay.
Then she was also in the new Blade Runner.
Okay.
she's done other stuff too, but I don't know if she's done a like big action movie. I think this is probably her biggest movie ever.
I thought she did really good, and I liked the other dude. Which
you
told me he was
Ghost Rider. Well, it's gonna be. Well, he was on Shield, and he's the one that had the series, but the series has been now.
And then I liked this girl,
Natalia Reyes.
Who, as you see in the trailer, they're like, I'm here to save her. And we don't really know why. So you have to watch the movie to find out why.
Which is an interesting, again, it's the direction. It's a smart twist to the story that allows them to.
And I figured it out before they went there.
Yeah. I did too. It wasn't hard to figure out. It was kind of a weak chess game they were trying to play. But it's let's say Cumbia Ninja. But it's a very clever direction that allows them to continue moving the story forward in other films, because it makes total sense to what has already happened.
Yeah.
As opposed to just rehashing. This didn't feel to me like just a rehash. Although
it was fresh.
Although there are a lot of elements that are both paying homage and direct formulaic to the previous movies.
Yes.
Like the new Terminator, the Rev 9, very much like the Liquid Metal Terminator.
A little bit like Liquid Metal, but
with some new tweaks and things, some of the moments I like that they didn't fall back on just the stereotypical one-liner stuff. They like Sarah Connor got to use a line that's not her line, and they didn't always just rely on like get to the choppas and that kind of stuff. They did different things with some of them, and then some of them just left them out altogether. Like I read an interview with the director, and he was like, I'm a fan of the franchise, so it was a very thin line to walk between fan service and telling a story that makes sense for the franchise, and not just putting in a hasta la vista baby because people want to hear him say it. Then it feels like he's like, you don't write the script and go, okay, hasta la vista baby, check.
Nah.
You couldn't do that.
Well, and when you watch this movie, you're gonna see it's such an emotional story for all the characters, and that's not at all what you expect. But I'm glad we made it to that level in the story that even if it's a Terminator, they can have an emotional story arc, which is bizarre, but cool. I mean, every person has an emotional arc that they're going throughout the story, and they all get resolved. But it doesn't feel like it's happening too fast to me. I felt like it all kind of happened at a good pace.
I think the only part that happens a little fast is the initial
thing.
Introduction of the Ramos family or whatever their name are. And wasn't the guy, her brother? Wasn't he the one from that musical, rock and roll musical?
Maybe
the one with what is it called? It was a few years ago. They had Tom Cruise and Alec Baldwin when they were in the Diego Bonaneta or whatever. What are you doing?
I played the trailer.
Why don't you know how to do nothing? Hold on, she don't know how to do nothing.
This dude?
Yeah, scroll down.
Yes.
Scroll down. Yes, Rock of Ages.
Yes.
That's what it is.
He was that kid.
I thought that was his. He has a weird face.
Oh, okay. But yes, it was that guy.
Anyway, so like that whole part of it thing, and the open action sequence, which is the one you see in the trailer with them in the truck driving around, and then there's part of it in like a warehouse. That's all like the opening of the film.
Yeah.
I read that in the original previs work of that film, it was twice as long.
Really?
He said, yeah, that was cut it down.
Oh, I'd like to see the long version.
I don't think it was shot. I think you realize that's just too much right away.
I don't know. I liked it.
There's a shit ton of action here, but there's also a lot of motion, like she said. There's it takes a little while before you get to see Schwarzenegger, but it makes sense on how long it takes for him to get there. And didn't feel like you just forced him into the story. But it is not a glorified cameo, which I was very happy about. Linda Hamilton gets a lot to do. He gets a lot to do. The other characters, and I thought Hamilton did really well. She's chewing up the scene. Like, I personally never thought she was that great of an actress.
Right.
But I think she's like
she was good on Beauty and the Beast.
See, and I hated that show.
My mom and I watched it.
I never watched it. I didn't watch a bunch of them. I just didn't like the show. But I didn't like Ron Perlman then either. Now I'm a fan of Ron Perlman. Yeah. But I think maybe it's the older versions I like, because like back then I never, even with the original Terminator, I always thought she was like, she's all right. But she was kind of like Mark Hamill to me. No, she's like, she's an iconic character, but but in this one, I think for what she had to work with and what she did, I think she did really well.
Yeah.
And played off I believed her.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
who she is and what she was going to do, and there was never that, we talk on the show a lot about my issue is always like the quick turnaround, like when we talked about Gemini Man, where you suddenly went, I don't trust you. Okay, I trust you
Okay,
now.
now I'm your friend.
And this one is like, there's a non-going, I don't trust you till the very, very end, until
and I think that's
something so major changes that even though you still don't trust or like that person, you realize, okay,
gotta go.
I gotta move forward with this now, even though you're still a dick, But
sometimes there's no choice.
It's a great entry to the franchise. It was number one this weekend. It didn't open to I think what everybody thought it was going to.
Oh, but it was still number one, right?
It was still number one, but of course then you get the people that are already doing those stories. Oh, Terminator fake bombed at the box office because it only made 29 million on 100.
Oh no!
But it also had 185 million budget or something.
There's so much computer
stuff. So it made more than Genesis made, but not near as much as like some of the other ones have made. So hopefully it does well enough in the long run, and the fact that it got probably more good reviews than it did bad. Because James Cameron did say they do have an idea for further films of this. But if not, it has it's not really a definitive ending, but this series can't really have a definitive ending because it's time travel and futuristic things that are going to happen.
Well, it's going to happen.
I'm just saying, there's no way to really end this story. There's not a happily ever after to this story because no matter what happens, things are going to still happen.
We're dumb humans.
It's going to be one of those, I think it's going to end where
ourselves. It's
going to end like the first Terminator did, no matter when it ends, where she's going to try to live her life and try to fight against the future. And that's how it is. And whoever is going to be the person that has to do that at some point down the road, it's still going to be the same thing until the future gets here. And then we end up in the loop. So
we could be in the loop right now, you guys, and you just don't know.
That's right. You might have watched this show 3 days ago.
Do you think Skynet is real? Or that it could happen?
Oh, dear God.
No, I'm serious. Yes or no?
I don't think it could happen at that extent.
Really?
Because I think there's more people that are smart enough to stop it before it gets to that point than there are people that aren't.
Okay.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I don't think it would ever be able to happen because I think there's too many people that care more about their money and themselves than they would ever be like, oh, did you notice it's starting to virus and stuff? I think they would just bomb it and be done with it, and it wouldn't be like you see in the movies. Because if you want to talk about that, you can get on the Universal Soldier, and it's AI in part 2 doing the same thing and building its own body and taking over Unisols. It's all the same freaking story.
Okay.
Which the guy in Universal Soldier 2 talks about. We're just going to blow the building up. The AI is in that building. We will destroy the building. The end.
I know, but if it's connected to the internet, it automatically transfers its consciousness to another.
But it didn't. It wasn't
machine.
then. And so it was like, they were like, no, you can't destroy that building. There's people there. He's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Let's destroy that. Let's kill all these people to save the world instead of this one person.
I agree.
So anyway, same crap.
Thank you.
So
Skynet is real.
So moving on. Oh, Jesus Christ. So did you have any theater experiences at your screening?
No, I had a really enjoyable time at my screening. Thank you for asking. I went with a coworker, and she bought me snacks.
Oh, that's always a good thing.
Because I got her into the movie and had a really pleasant time. I do enjoy seeing. This is funny. So I saw.
She enjoys seeing movies that she doesn't have to do the work for.
I saw the Harriet Tubman movie, and the audience was predominantly African American.
Did they clap at the end of it?
They did clap at the end of it.
Well, I saw it on Friday at the regular theater. There was a few claps at the end.
That's good. People did clap. But we had clapping at moments throughout, and we had some girls and all that. I love watching movies with a very active audience.
So I have to ask you this, and you probably aren't going to experience things like this the same way I do because of our cultural differences.
Yes, sir.
She's not white.
I'm not.
When you watch a movie like that, whether it's about slavery or any that's like oppressing a people, whether it's Indian people, black people, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oppressing thing. Do you ever feel awkward, like uncomfortable?
I don't, because I feel like I am part of that group.
That's why I'm wondering. Yeah. Because like every so often I feel like when I'm watching Harriet, for instance.
Like because you're the white guy?
Yeah. I'll look around the room and I realize there's only me and maybe 4 other white people in this theater. And it's not so much that I think they're looking at me in anger. It makes me wonder, are they looking at me because I'm by myself watching it?
Mm-hmm.
And here I am back there, with the earrings and the tattoos and the hat. And I'm like, does he just doing this because he thinks he's, a wigger? Does he actually care about our culture? Or why is this guy here? It goes through my head sometimes. And I know it shouldn't matter. We're just watching a movie.
Normally, if you're with me, I don't think it's that bad, is it?
No, I get the no. I still have the thoughts about it because, but then I'm getting the eyeballs from all the Hispanic people wondering why you take our woman and.
Well, see, and I do. I feel like I identify with a lot of the stories, although I'm not African American. I do think
What?
I do think
my grandmother will tell you differently.
I do think there is perhaps some DNA in my body.
Well, my grandmother thinks
because I mean slavery affected all of our countries. I mean
that's right.
Mexico, Central and South America, slaves were brought to our lands as well. And so I think that I mean, like I told y'all before, I mean Mexico has recognized Afro-Mexican as a race because we're all mixed. I mean, our lands were all taken over and slaves were brought here and our lands were taken from us as well. I mean, so I don't doubt that I'm some part black somewhere along the way. So I identify with that and I don't feel bad. I feel like I'm identifying with the experience. So
anyway, so what else happened at the theater?
No. I did think about my friend who was with me because she is also a white person.
Like I don't ever feel uncomfortable, and I don't feel like I have a need to explain to somebody while I'm there and whatever. And I guarantee.
But you are way more into history and life and the experience of the American people than I am. I'm like history, yeah, whatever. But you're into it, and you like film, so I get why you're there.
I know, but none of these people know me.
I know,
so
they don't know you.
Help anybody.
I know.
Anyway, okay, so moving on. Any other theater?
Sorry, what else? I think that's all we saw in the theater together or separately.
Yeah, and I don't.
Oh, Terminator. We were supposed to go to a screening.
Oh my God! So
we were supposed to go to a screening of Terminator 2.
On Tuesday.
We got there early. We thought we're like, hey, let's have some.
We hit the Disney store to look at Star Wars stuff. We went to eat dinner. We were chilling and chatting and doing our normal routine. And then we made our way, and I made a statement of like, "There's no line over here."
That's weird.
And sometimes there's not down there, and I saw some other press people posting and doing the press screening or whatever. So we get up there and walk in, and there's the table that they do check-in outside. There's nobody at the table. We're like, "Where the hell is everybody?" Then we go to walk in, and security people are standing there, and they kind of recognize, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm like, "There's nobody checking. They're not out there. No, there's nobody there." I just go on. So we go in, and the movie's playing, and we're like. This movie starts at 7:30. What the heck? So and it's like 9 after 7, and it was supposed to start at 7:30, and the movie's playing. And I'm like, what the heck? And so I pull up the phone. It started at 7.
We're so dumb.
We're so dumb. So we walked into the theater to see if we could find quick seats.
I couldn't see any seats.
Yeah,
it looked full.
It looked full, but then somebody told me no, there were plenty of seats you could have stayed. But by that point, we were already missed 10 minutes.
I don't.
We walked all the way around, and then we said, "Screw this," and left. I was livid. And I was more mad. I wasn't so mad I was missing the movie. I was mad that I skipped teaching my class because I was going to this movie. So I had somebody else
teach. Horrible.
Yeah, so I felt horrible because now I'm doing this for no reason. Then I felt horrible. Worse that we were there the whole freaking time. We
could have just gotten there immediately and walked in on time.
We would have been there just fine.
Oh,
so then we had to go to the car. We were leaving. We bought our tickets and we had to go back late night. But the upside, we saw it at the Dolby instead.
Yeah, we went to go see it in Dolby later that week.
It was ridiculously irritating and funny all at once.
Dumb. We're just so stupid. So now I think we just go straight in no matter what.
We'll just check in first to see.
And then see if we have time to go eat and come back.
And here's what's funny about that. For those who don't know me about this, I'm very meticulous about time.
Yes.
I'm paranoid. Like even with the screenings, I'm paranoid. Even though they told me I have seats, I look at the clock. I'll leave to drive there, look at the email again to make sure I'm going to the right theater. I'll get there, and as far as I'm concerned, I am not getting in this screening until they check me in.
Yeah.
And so just the fact that this only happened one other time, no, 2 times. One went on the wrong day. It was for the Veronica Mars movie. And my buddy Thomas went with us. We met up at the theater, went in there, we're like, there's nobody here. And then I looked and said, well, it's supposed to be on and it was the following Tuesday, not the Tuesday. So we went and ate dinner, and then we went back the next Tuesday to try again. And then the other time was me and my daughter checked in, and then we went to get food, and then we came back, and they'd filled up and gave our seats out. So we left. That was for Life of Pi. So anyway.
There was only one time where I went to the wrong theater.
Oh, I've done that.
But luckily, it's only like 10 minutes down the road, so I made it in time.
I've done that too.
So,
I've done that 2 or 3 times.
But I didn't miss it. I've never missed one.
That one I've done 2 or 3 times when I was trying to learn all the different studio movie grills and Alamos and before we first started going to those.
So disappointed. I'm disappointed in us. We're so dumb.
I'm not. I'm disappointed in you. It was your fault.
So that was our real theater experience.
Yeah.
So embarrassing.
It was funny. So anyway, all right. So let's see what else we got going on here.
All right.
So do you want to talk about contests first, or what's coming out first?
Yeah. Now tell me contests.
All right. So contest time.
What is these?
We got a variety of. Oh, I already had it set.
Oh,
I'm
man.
so stupid here again. So we got a few things different happen. We're giving away. Oh,
Woo!
Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints. What are you laughing at? Make sure it's actually on here. Okay, so we're giving away a few things. We're giving away copies of Killer Sofa on DVD. Don't clap. It's not that good. We are giving away copies if you like furniture that kills people.
I did.
Killer Sofa is all for you. Sadly, it's not a sofa; it's a recliner, but that's neither here nor there. We are also giving away. Oh, we're not giving away. That's fine. We're giving away copies of Yellowstone, the complete second season, which I am in the middle of right now, and you will hear us talk about tomorrow on TV Tuesdays when it returns from its hiatus from 1 week because we didn't do it last week. We're also giving away copies of La Kitchen, the kitchen. Nothing.
I liked it.
The Kitchen with Melissa McCarthy and Tiffany Haddish and Elizabeth Moss. Yeah, we're giving that away. Did you know this is a comic book movie?
I did.
This is a DC Vertigo. If you didn't know this is a DC Comics movie. I'll hear y'all bashing that, Marvel fans. Then we're also giving away a copy of Good Boys, which I don't have a copy to show you.
I love that movie.
Comedy with the young boys and Phil.
And on all beads.
Flarn, Phil.
On all beads.
Yes, on all beads.
On all beads.
We're giving away a copy of Good Boys. We're also giving away. Hold on. Okay, we're also giving away a copy of Hobbs and Shaw. I'm sorry, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Look, we have a copy of it right here of Hobbs and Shaw. So if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, we're giving away copies of Hobbs and Shaw. I'm sure you want to check that out. And that is all for now. But we do have a couple other contests that's going to be popping up soon, so be on the lookout, children.
Okay, sounds good. What else?
Oh, now you want me to tell you what's going on? I got to tell you about
out.
everything. A couple things that are already out that I wanted to tell just because I didn't get to talk about them because I didn't have them yet. Since we're talking about Terminator Dark Fate today, I figured to bring it up. They just released Red Heat, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Belushi in a Walter Hill film where he plays a Russian. The movie opens up, I wrote it in my review, it opens up with him naked in a bathhouse fighting in the snow with other big Russians. So if you want to see a naked Arnold Schwarzenegger in a fist fight.
I also watched Terminator.
That's the movie for you. Lionsgate also released the original Universal Soldier, which I brought up a few minutes ago, on 4K, starring Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme. But this is also from Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich, the team behind Independence Day. This one is one of her favorite films, and Stargate.
Independence Day could happen as well. I believe aliens are real. Anyway, I don't know that they're going to come take over our planet because we're destroying it.
I didn't talk about this the other day, but I'm cutting you off because nobody cares what you're talking about right now.
I care.
This is just too cool to not show.
Oh, that is fun.
They released Batman Beyond, the complete series on Blu-ray. This is the nice little Blu-ray set. And the collector set not only comes with this, it also comes...
Hold on, he's opening a package.
I'm making package faith. I can't get the package. I have this issue with my package all the time.
Lord.
Hold on, it won't open. Okay.
You would do horrible at those unboxing videos.
That's why I don't do them because those videos are stupid. It comes with these cool little cards. They're all different like images, and the best part about them is these.
Oh no! Oh.
So we got like 4 different ones. Each one, I'm assuming different villains and stuff on it. And all of them are the same kind of. So you can do that to your friends and family that love it. But they're cool. They move. Very fancy. Like some are better than others.
Stop it!
And
doesn't that hurt you?
No, because it's not doing anything to me, you freaking weirdo. But also it comes with this very cool exclusive pop of Batman Beyond.
It's pretty cool.
He's kind of chromed out, looking at celebrating Batman's 80th anniversary. So it's a cool set. But what you may not know is not only does this come with all 3 or 4 seasons, whatever it is, it also includes the Batman Beyond film, Return of the Joker. It's all part of the same set.
I like it.
So everything Batman Beyond that came out is all in this one nice little set.
I like it. I like Batman Beyond. It was fun.
Also, this coming week, we have a variety of stuff.
There is a variety.
Hobbs and Shaw is actually hitting Blu-ray and 4K and everything this week. So if you don't happen to win it in our contest on
VHS.
Yes. If you don't win in our contest, you can go buy your own copy. The kitchen is also coming out this week, so once again, you can buy it yourself. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which was a lot of fun. You should check it out. It's coming out this week. The Art of Racing in the Rain, which is the movie about
I gotta see that.
Kevin Costner as the dog, is coming out.
Yeah.
They're releasing a lot more Disney movies on 4K. I think they're releasing a ton of them, getting ready for holidays and whatnot, as well as releasing the trilogy, the Edgar Wright trilogy of Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and At World's End, and then many more things. That's it for now.
All right, coming out at the theater, we have a very exciting week.
It's a big week this week.
There's a gazillion things coming out. So one is Last Christmas.
And they're all nothing to do with the other thing. They're like so far apart in subjects.
So we have Last Christmas with Emilia Clarke,
the Khaleesi,
and Henry Golding, who most of you most recently saw in Crazy Rich Asians. I guess it's a little romantic comedy, but something's going on with Emilia Clarke's character.
I think it's kind of fantasy-like too.
So we'll see that. Midway, which is about the Battle of Midway.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Looks awesome.
I know you're gonna like. So this is the retaliation,
which I
following
believe
Pearl Harbor.
I believe is also directed by. Is it on there? I believe it's the same people that did Independence Day as well.
Oh, well, there you go.
Roland Emmerich, I think that one is.
Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining.
Which we will be talking about because someone hasn't seen The Shining. So we're going to be watching The Shining and Dr. Sleep, so we can do a whole thing about this.
Lord.
Y'all know how it is with her Pet Cemetery, and we've done this with It. So this is our ongoing Stephen King saga.
Okay, so we had a romantic comedy, a war movie, a horror, and now a comedy, Playing with Fire, with John Cena and a bunch of other comedians.
John Leguizamo.
Yes.
Which means I got to see, so I'm going to watch it.
It's the one where they're the firefighters, and they have to take care of these kids they find in a house fire.
It looks like a movie that's going to be absolutely ridiculously stupid, but I got to see it because I support all things John Leguizamo.
Then something else completely random, a Nicolas Cage film called Primal,
where
he's like animals. A big game hunter.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what that's about. And then one for the kids called Race Time. It looks like they're racing in the snow with some dogs.
We won't see it anymore.
I don't know, whatever. And then on Netflix, we have a Christmas movies are starting to come out. Let It Snow. Don't know who's in it. I think it's Joan Cusack and some other people, so it might be kind of funny, but kind of Christmassy. And then the cool thing happening this week is...
No, it's not this week. It's next week.
Oh.
It's the 12th.
But that'll... Oh, okay, never mind. I won't talk to about it until next week. But
we won't talk about exactly what it is, but be on the
week.
lookout because Disney Plus is fixing to hit with all sorts of things in November 12th.
Woo!
So we've got exactly 1 week until Disney Plus blows up the internet.
Yeah.
With its new...
And then we missed a couple of things this week that were out on Netflix. So there's a lot of good stuff on Netflix.
Well, we didn't get to see the Motherless Brooklyn in theaters. We still want to see Parasite.
Yes, I heard it was riveting.
Jay and Silent Bob Roadshow hit the Texas Theater this weekend. That's what's crazy. The Texas Theater, we were there. Remember I was telling you they were having the daytime screening of the other one?
Yeah.
Last night was the Jay and Silent Bob Roadshow at the same Texas Theater.
That's funny.
So Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes were there.
That's
cool. That means it's probably playing at the Texas Theater or somewhere nearby, because what Kevin Smith was saying was after they do the Roadshow tour hits that area, that theater, then the movie plays at that theater.
Okay, cool.
So you can actually just go see it. So I'd have to look up the Texas Theater. I don't know if it's just there or if it's just in that market.
Yeah.
But it's a fun movie. It's a great thing.
It's going to be a busy movie week, and there is something for everyone. So make sure you make it to the movies.
That's right. And we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff. Go ahead. That's your turn.
Oh, hi. That was it. Am I ready?
Yeah, you got to do plugs and the other plugs.
Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. This poor man updates it every single day, so go check it out.
By myself.
There's always new content. Please go share our links. Please, please, please. Send us an email. Share, share, share. Also, you can follow us, obviously, on the Facebook. Please like and please share at Hollywood Matrimony. Also, we're on the YouTube. So right now, go like our videos, go subscribe, and then you can also click the little button that says share, and you can text it, you can email it, you can Facebook it, you can do anything you want. Share the links. We are also on the Twitter at Hollywood Matrimony and on Instagram at Hollywood Matter, MATR. Go like and share. Thank you.
And the more you share, the more good prizes and cool
Yes.
stuff we have. They send us a lot of stuff now, so just imagine what they sent us if you give us more
We get
love.
random boxes of things.
Yeah, like we have
Like
stuff
this
that we
last
don't
box
even.
was weird.
We have stuff that we don't put on the site, stuff that I save for doing conventions and things like that. So we have Toy Story posters. We have
Random Lion King.
I've got Toy Story 4 magnet sheets that
Yes.
all the people that won the digital copies of Toy Story 4 got a magnet. And I don't think I told you, one of our ongoing supporters, a person named Lisa,
Oh, hey, Lisa.
who's been with us from Examiner days. She followed me back there. She's one of the first people that entered a contest. She won a copy of Toy Story 4 and got a magnet. So she actually sent a message with a photo
And
that
said,
said,
so sweet.
"We got it, thanks." And Forky, which is what the magnet is already on our fridge. So it's up there. So, but we try to
have a closet full of stuff.
Yeah, we've got Toy Story posters, Lion King posters. We got Doctor Strange. We got old Marvel posters of stuff.
We can send you a poster pack. Just send us an email.
Yeah, we got just random nonsense that they send us that we save for conventions and appearances and things like that.
That's amazing.
And there's some things they send me stuff that they say they're going to send. It doesn't show up, and then all of a sudden it shows up a month later. Sometimes some of these studios clean out closets at the end of the year, and then they just send stuff out to me or to the other reviewers to just for ongoing promotions. So like at AllCon in March, we'll have a whole bunch of random crap on a table to give away for free. So like we've had water bottles and T-shirts and that water bottle I use on the show. I've had it for what, 4 years now.
Yeah, and like I was giving away Creed T-shirts and like, are these free? I'm like, yeah, please take them. So, it's taking up space.
We get more stuff. The more you share, the more you tell your friends, the more you get out there. Hello,
Vader saying hi. Say hi to the camera.
So anyway, and we apologize last week. We got crazy busy with stuff we were preparing for belt tests and tournaments and our deadlines and all kinds of things going on. So we missed out on Martial Arts Movie Monday, and we missed out on TV Tuesday. We'll be back this week for an all-new episode of Martial Arts Movie Monday with me, yours truly. We're going to do a big one next tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, we'll both be back for TV Tuesdays. I'm
excited. We have some good stuff for TV Tuesday.
We have some catch up. And then we'll be back here on Sunday for an all-new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. And hopefully, eventually, get back into week updates and what's on my desk and mine. But we'll get to them when we have time. Of course, all kinds of new trailers and stuff. It's getting into the holiday season of movies, so it's going to get busy. We've got some Jumanji stuff coming up. We got some Frozen Disney stuff coming up. We got Star Wars coming up. We got all kinds of nonsense and silliness that we can't wait to talk about. So that is it.
All right. Thank you so much for
make
watching.
Sure you hit that subscribe button here on our YouTube channel. Hit the little subscribe orb up here if it shows up, and watch whatever trailer pops up over here. Be sure to tell your friends. We love you all. We went long today, but that's okay because you got to see us longer.
That's okay.
Now we got to eat because I haven't eaten today.
Yeah, so I know. I got to feed.
Peace be with you.
Bye. Peace out.
Bye.
Yeah.